If you have ADHD, there are two moments in your day, and they should not both exist. At 9 in the evening, you are finished. Your body is heavy, your eyes hurt, and if you sat down right now, you would be asleep in 90 seconds. By 1 in the morning, you are wide awake. Nothing happened in between, nobody kept you up, nothing went wrong, and you weren't even enjoying yourself. You just didn't go. You have lived this 1,000 times, and somewhere along the way you decided it means something bad about you. It doesn't. But the real reason is stranger than the one you've been telling yourself. Because here's the part that doesn't fit. You are not bad at sleeping. You fall asleep on the couch. You fall asleep in the car, in a meeting, during a film you chose. Sleep isn't the problem. Sleep is easy for you, everywhere except in the one place designed for it. So this isn't insomnia. Insomnia is lying in bed unable to switch off. This is something else entirely. You never got in. Between the couch and the bedroom, there are maybe 20 steps. And somewhere in those 20 steps, every night, something takes over. What is it? It has a name, and the name is a small disappointment. In 2014, Floor Kroeze and her colleagues at Utrecht University published a paper in Frontiers in Psychology introducing a term, bedtime procrastination. Going to bed later than you intended when nothing outside of you is forcing you to. Not a sleep disorder, a procrastination problem, one that happens to land at night. Online, you'll see it called revenge bedtime procrastination. Careful there. That phrase comes from social media, not from a lab. It isn't a diagnosis. But it points at something true. Because if this were ordinary procrastination, you'd be avoiding a task you hate, tax forms, a phone call, the email. You're not avoiding any of that. You're avoiding rest, the thing you want most that costs nothing, that you have been looking forward to since 2 in the afternoon. Nobody procrastinates on a reward. So either you are the one broken person who does, or this was never procrastination in the first place. Who avoids rest? Start with the clock, because for an ADHD brain, the clock is not a shared object. Time perception differences are one of the most consistently reported features of ADHD in the research literature. The everyday word for it is time blindness. Time doesn't feel like a line you're moving along. It feels like two settings, now and not now. Do this. Right now, before you look, guess what time it is. Most people reading this are off. Some are off by a lot. Here's why that matters more than it sounds. All day, you don't actually track time. You borrow it. The meeting starts, so it's 10. You're hungry, so it's 1. Someone leaves, so it's 6. The day is full of other people's edges, and you use them as a clock. Now put that brain in a dark, quiet house at 11 at night. No meetings, no hunger, nobody expecting anything. Every edge that was telling you time is passing has been switched off, one by one, and nobody replaced them. The day had edges, the night has none. And a brain that runs on now and not now has just been handed an infinite now. That's why just one more video is not a lie you tell yourself. At that moment, it is genuinely what one more video feels like. From the inside, there is no difference between 1 and 9. Think about the day you actually had. You got up late, so you were behind before you started. Someone needed something at 10. You opened the wrong tab and lost 40 minutes you can't account for. You did the urgent thing instead of the real thing. At 4, you finally got focused, and 15 minutes later, you were interrupted. You made dinner, you cleaned up, and you answered the message you'd been dreading since Tuesday. And in all of that, count the minutes that were yours. Not the minutes you enjoyed, the minutes you chose, the ones where you decided what happened next, and nothing interrupted the decision. For most people with an ADHD brain and a full day, the honest answer is somewhere near 0. Then you sat down. The house went quiet. The last message got answered. And for the first time in 16 hours, nobody wanted anything from you. So you don't go to bed, and you tell yourself it's because you're lazy or broken or bad at being an adult. Watch what you're actually doing. You are not avoiding sleep. You are refusing to hand back the only hour of the day that belonged to you. The whole day was spent on other people's timing, their meetings, their messages, their emergencies. Executive dysfunction means the plans were never fully yours to begin with. Your attention went where the day pulled it, not where you sent it. And then, at 11 at night, the pulling stops. That's not laziness, that's a debt being collected. The day took it, you're taking it back. Which would almost be fine, except two more things are stacking underneath. The first is physical. In 2010, Christian Van Veen and colleagues published a study in Biological Psychiatry on adults with ADHD and chronic trouble falling asleep. On average, their evening melatonin release, the body's own signal that night has started, came significantly later than in the comparison group. Read that carefully. It's one study in one population, and it doesn't apply to everyone with ADHD. But for some people, at 11 at night, the body has not been told it's night yet. So the internal signal is late, and the psychological pull is strong, both at once. And this is the part that gets called weak character. It isn't. One of those two things is a clock in your body, and you cannot argue with it. The second thing is what happens next morning. You wake up short, not tired in a way that coffee fixes, short. You are behind before you start, worse than yesterday. Your fuse is shorter, so the small things cost more. You lose another 40 minutes you can't account for. The day owns you harder than it did before, which means tonight you will need that hour back even more. That's the loop. And notice what powers it. Not the staying up, the guilt. The story that you failed again, which makes tomorrow smaller, which makes tonight more necessary. So no, you don't fix this at 11 at night. At 11 at night, you are not making a decision. You are collecting on one that was taken from you at 9 in the morning. The lever is earlier, and it's smaller than you'd like. One thing in the day that is yours, chosen by you on purpose, not squeezed into the gaps. 20 minutes, not a system, not a routine you'll abandon by Thursday. And put it in the middle of the day, not at the end. At the end, it becomes the same hour you're already fighting over. Tomorrow, try one. Pick it in the morning while the day is still yours to spend, and see what 11 at night feels like. I can't promise it works, but it's the only version of this that isn't asking a tired brain to win an argument at midnight, and that argument has never once been won. Because the hour at 1 in the morning isn't the disease, it's the receipt. And when a little of the day already belongs to you, the night stops having to carry all of it. At 9 in the evening, you are finished, and your body is heavy. This time you go not because you finally found the discipline, because there's nothing left to take back.